I named it 4 to 4.
Oh, there you go. Good.
He's deep in thought over there. Deep in thought. He's just waiting for the beat to drop. All right, everybody. Sorry, I let that run a little long. I was trying to get Drew into one of his dancing moves for the YouTube viewers here. But this is the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resort. We're your hosts, Dominic Dougherty and Drew, not so funky today, Fasy.
And we are your local guys. Hey, Dom. Before we get into it, I need to throw a shout out there. My buddy Joe Nay from the deep South End had back surgery today, and I wanted to wish him well. Anybody who knows Joe loves Joe, and I said a short prayer for him last night for successful surgery and recovery. Just wanted to send that out there.
That's good. Fasy prayers count as doubles, so he's good to go. So, but anyway, Drew, we come on today. It was a rough day here for everyone, I think. You know, there was a lot of anticipation and a lot of build up to, last night and what was going to happen and what could potentially happen. And Netflix came out and said there is no secret ending episode of Stranger Things. So I think that hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. That would be great if that's what we were talking about, that letdown. We are talking about, of course, the 4 to 4 split decision of the Ocean City Planning Board on the rehabilitation application submitted by Eustace Mita for 600 Boardwalk. For those of you that don't know, there will not be a revote. When you talk about a planning board, a 4 to 4, whenever there's a tie, that means that the application is denied. So what this means is that as an advisory board to the city council, they are not advising the city council to create a ordinance to place the property in designate the property as a property in need of rehabilitation. So
now it'll go back to city council, and they can choose to do that or not by a straight up and down vote. My guess would be, I haven't talked to any council people, so I don't know, but my guess would be that vote would not be in favor.
Listen,
that's my guess.
So I went to the meeting 15 minutes late, thinking I would miss public comment or at least the reorganization of the board. Sounds like they tabled all that stuff the next meeting when I got there, before I got there, because there were so many people in attendance. There's probably about 200 people there last night, I would say. Maybe 150, like in that range. And sitting there for 3 hours, you can watch whatever you want to see. You can see it for the next 30 days on our Facebook page, OCNJ Local, where I stream the whole thing live. I apologize for the poor sound quality. Towards the end of the recording, I realized that there is a lot of sand in the bottom of my phone, possibly covering my microphone. So I cleaned that out today, so it would be better. And I have to give a shout out to Liz Katz for letting me borrow a power bank, because I burned through almost a full battery sitting there trying to stream this video live.
Good on you, Dom. Thank you for doing that.
But
I know a lot of people appreciated it.
There were a lot of it was a lot of talking in circles, and there were a lot of the same things brought up for and against the designation of rehabilitation. I will say this, Drew, the two reasons why everyone the two reasons for rehabilitation that everyone was arguing was the two that we brought up in the podcast yesterday of, structural integrity or structure in disrepair and vacancy, a pattern of vacancy. So,
which two of the engineers, the engineer for Eustace Mita and the engineer for the city, both supported that. Both looked at the structure and said it had significant deterioration.
So there were two things I think that took that off the table for some people. The first one was when a homeowner, not a resident, a homeowner who happened to be, in his words, a high-powered building collapse litigation attorney, got up and basically ripped the guy's report to shreds. Said, where was your materials expert? Yeah, there's spiraling or spying in the pilings, but to what degree? Like, there was no hard evidence within that report, no scientific data, no real scientific process. It was more just going under there and taking pictures and saying, like, hey, look at how bad this is. Mark Grimes, your agent at the shore, did get up and say, well, last year someone perished in there because the lift they were on fell through the concrete on there. So do we really need the scientific process? And Dean Adams came back and said, I think we could go back and we could do all this stuff and have all these reports, and we're probably going to end up in the same place we are right now, which is, hey, this needs to be fixed. The other argument that came up with that was, oh, so Mr. Mita just let his property go to waste, and maybe I should do that too. Maybe I should just let my property get into disrepair, and then I can be zoned an area in need of rehabilitation and do whatever I want on my property. But here's the thing. Mr. Mita's owned that property since 2021. Anybody who lives here, who doesn't just own a second home and leave when the weather gets crappy, knows that building and that pier has been in disrepair for way longer than 2021. He didn't own it in 2006, in 2014. He didn't own it during Hurricane Sandy and the damage that it must have took then. He didn't own it then. He owned it for the past 4 years. And he purchased it. What everyone seems to forget here is he purchased this to keep it from going to a sheriff's sale. Right? A sheriff's sale. That's not like, hey, I'm like 30 days behind on my payments. Can I get a little more time? That's like, my lender is coming to sue you because I haven't paid you in a substantial amount of time. And Mita comes in, buys the property to keep that, allows Wonderland to stay open for 2 years after that, completely rent-free, and then says you can stay as long as you want. Just pay the rent. That's all you got to do is pay the rent, and you can stay as long as you want. So instead of giving Mr. Mita a hard time for not going in and trying to freaking repair the Titanic as it sinks, we should be saying, hey, Mr. Mita, thanks for propping this up for a couple years so we could have a nice send-off. Because if that went to sheriff's sale, there wouldn't have been
that's a really interesting point, Tom. Who would have purchased that property at sheriff's sale, and what would they have done with it?
Yeah, there wouldn't have been no like, oh, hey, the park's going to close. Come use your tickets. No fanfare. It would have been like, oh, hey, guess what? Here's the auction for the property. And everyone would have been like, what? Like, Mr. Mita did this community a service and gave Wonderland an opportunity to reestablish itself as a business and get back on its feet. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do it. And that brings me to my next point. Now, with this area of not being in a zone of rehabilitation, we're stuck with it being an amusement park. So someone who's already had all the amusements on there, owns all the stuff on there, couldn't make it work, who's to say someone else is going to come in and all of a sudden just snap their fingers and make it work? Like, by not putting this into an area of rehabilitation, one, we lose our ability, the city loses its ability to negotiate with the developer, which they would have had when they were going to designate the redevelopment plan through city council, which would have also been a public process that you and I and everybody out here who's complaining about this could have got involved in. We lose that option, and now we're stuck with it being zoned the same thing. We're stuck with the only option being amusements. And another person came up, a gentleman came up who for 25 years has been in the ride, sale and lease business to family-owned parks like Wonderland. He estimated to put all new rides in there to be between, I think it was 18 and $25 million. 18 to $25 million.
All right.
So who's going to come in and do this? So before you say to circle back here, but before you say to Mr. Mita, oh, you let your property go to crap, you're looking for an economic advantage. No, Mr. Mita is a businessman. And there's a very smart public commenter that came up. I believe his name is George. He made very good comments when Ocean City 2050 announced their Wonderland Commons proposal, when they announced that at the library as well too. And he said, Mr. Mita's smart. Mr. Mita saw, hey, I can buy this property. This property is probably not in the best shape right now. And I'll give him an opportunity to do his thing. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. If you can't do it, then I want to do my thing. And what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? And everyone says, oh, he didn't do anything. He invested $500,000 to paint it, to get it up so that 4 businesses could open in the front 20% of it.
Well, and on that, it's not like, the place needed a new boiler, right, or new HVAC system.
No, it needed.
What we're talking about is removing the building, removing all the rides, removing the deck, the top deck, removing all the pilings, putting new pilings in, putting new deck in, putting new building back, and putting the rides back.
So just to shore up the decking,
I'm guessing that's a several year project.
Yeah. So,
or at least a year. Let's say at least a year's project. So it's not like, they're not. So, he didn't put any money back into it. He didn't fix it if he knew it was broken or whatever people were saying. It's a complicated process.
But who didn't fix it before? Who didn't fix it before? Well, how did it get to that point before?
Things deteriorate, right?
I agree. Things deteriorate.
The property wasn't in that condition 30 years ago. It slowly deteriorated. Sandy washed under there. I'm sure Sandy had a took its toll on that. And then,
but it didn't. It didn't go to this incredible state of. It hasn't, like in the past 4 years, just all of a sudden started to crumble and fall.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's been happening for a long period of time.
Sure.
And there has been maintenance that has been put off and put off and put off and put off. So, like, to blame him and say he never took care of his property isn't fair. That's not fair to him. You have to look at the whole picture. Now, the other thing, and what swayed a few of the votes on the board was the subjective nature of the language within that designation. So, from my gathering, the board as a whole never set a true criteria, a true north as to what constitutes their definition of rehabilitation. So Sean Barnes decided that he was going to use the valuation of if the cost of repairs is more than 55% of the market value of the structure, then that should be an area considered in need of rehabilitation. That's what he chose to use. And in using that and putting that out there, he referred to that as the process, and he kept going back to the process. He goes, I don't know about this process and this process, because as a board, they didn't come to that true north. They didn't come to that conclusion. They left the subjectiveness of the language of the law to be interpreted as
up to each
individual. And I truly believe that Sean was able to sway a vote that most people thought would be a yes vote because of that. And if you looked at his numbers, he got the current valuation of the property would be the current estimated value of the property, or assessed value. Sorry, the current assessed value of the property was $18 million. He used some formula. I don't remember the name of the formula, and I apologize, but he came up to a market value of about $28 million. That's the fair market value. Based on the engineer's report, to repair just the pier and just what was there, it was $4 million to make that repair. The engineer also included in their report the amount of money it would be to repair the 3 main attractions on the property. And they considered them structures because they are structures on the property. To repair the carousel, the engineer found it to be $1.5 million. To repair the Ferris wheel, the engineer found it to be $2 million. To repair the log flume would be $4 million. So right there, you're looking at $8 million to repair the 3 main attractions that are structures that are on that property. If you look at the way the wording of the language, it talks about structures on the property. So if you choose to include those, then you're pretty much right at that 50% mark. You're at about $12 to $14 million, because again, and I'm sorry, all these valuations were taken, I believe, like almost a year ago. So the cost to repair those has obviously increased. So you're right at that you're right at that threshold if you include the rides. If you don't include the rides, then you're only at about 13%, is what he said. So again, you're picking and choosing where you want to make your argument. And that's where I think the planning board kind of missed the mark here, because they should have said a true north. They should have said, hey, if the engineer comes back and says, hey, this is what it is, then this is what we go with. Or if, we're going to do it, we're going to do a combination of maybe that formula that Sean came up with and what the engineers say. But they didn't do that, and it left it to this personal decision or personal interpretation. And I do believe that swayed one vote that I think the majority of people in town felt was going to be a yes. So that was a big deal. And, I look at it like this. If you're going to come in and you're going to buy that property and you're going to do something with it, you either have to remove those structures or you have to repair those structures. And in Mr. Barnes's case, if he's not going to include the repair of those structures, then he needs to include the removal of the structures, because that is part of rehabilitating the property. That would be a set cost in there. So you can't just say I'm going to leave these things here,
right,
and not include them. You can't. That's not correct. You either have to say this is what it's going to be to fix it, or this is what it's going to be to get rid of it and clear it off there. So that was a big problem, a big hole, I think, in the argument, and what I think led to, like I said, that one vote being turned.
So Dom, it's been a while since I've seen you this fired up, and I think you may be voicing the frustration of an awful lot of people in town, including the business owners who were anticipating it coming out of the planning board, going back to city council with a yes vote.
So, I have to give I have to give both these boards credit. This is a hard decision, and it's a hard decision. because there's so much emotion around it, and there's so much attached to it, not just in this community, but throughout the Delaware Valley. Everyone has some sort of connection to this piece of property. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Drew. The planning board grants variances, correct? And or is that the zoning board?
The zoning board grants variances.
Okay.
Technically, the planning board does have the right to dictate uses, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I guess my argument is fouled there, so I won't get into that thought that I had earlier today.
So
hold on.
Go ahead.
So when you have, and the reason I sit and cry, it's a hard decision. The city council, though, listened to the business community. They listened to the business community. They listened to the people that build this town. They listen to the people that make their livelihood making this a place that all of these other people want to invest in. All of these other people want to come here and buy their second home here because of the community that you and I and this business community builds. You and I aren't going to Pennsylvania seeking out an investment property. I'm not going to New Hope to look for somewhere to invest. They're coming here because of what we build. And I think Matt Ulmer said it really well today. And that's what kind of got me on this. He's like, we build this community. You come to us. You come to invest in us. And if you choose to leave and stop investing in us, guess what's going to happen? All our property values are going to go down. People are going to move in because they can afford to live here again. And we're going to have a thriving community, just like we always have. Like, you'd probably end up, if everyone left and said, I don't want to invest in here anymore, and it was affordable for the average family to live here again, because I don't know how I do it. I really don't. I do know because I bought my house before the craziness took place. But like, I couldn't come and live here now. No way. No way.
Right.
Like, I couldn't even rent here. Like, rent is way more than my mortgage. Like, if that happened and families could move back in here and families could live here again, we'd be just like a Summers Point or an EH. Well, not like Summers Point because everyone's taken over Summers Point now. We'd be like an Egg Harbor Township, or we'd be like something else. We'd have a big bustling community here of year-round residents because we're nice people. We let people come here and run amok, drive your golf carts all over the place, park wherever you want, do whatever you want to do. And we say, sure, no problem. Come hang out. It's cool. We get it. That's why we live here, because we get it. And we get you want to be here and you want to come and you want to get a little slice of this. And that's fine. We're happy to share it with you. Let us build it the way that we see building it, because we've built it and we've made it the success it is. The business community has made it the success it is. Not the second homeowners, not those people. The people that live here, the people that work here, the people that grind every day in this town are the ones that build it, not the second homeowners.
So I think where this is coming from, and a point that I wanted to make, Dom, is that, this could be, I know you're very upset by the vote last night. I know a lot of people were very upset.
I wouldn't say I'm upset. Okay.
You're frustrated. You're frustrated by it because now we're back to square one, right?
Yeah.
But let's look at this as an opportunity. So you have these two groups in town, Save Wonderland and Project 2050 or whatever they're called, that say they have proposals for amusements on the property. Now, Save Wonderland, they've spent the last 16 months, 17 months, whatever it's been, and with this idea of getting amusements back there. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, they have taken social media and made it an attack platform for anybody that disagreed with them, for the mayor, for city council, the planning board. I mean, they sure got that one wrong, right? Saying that the mayor handpicked the planning board and that's just a rubber stamp for him. They missed the mark on that one. But all these things that they have been doing online, conspiracy theories and calling in people's character into question, and a lot of stuff that if it wasn't for social media, if you said that to someone's face, they punch you in the nose, right? But they're saying all this really nasty lowball stuff on social media. Well, now's the time. The last we saw back in October, November, they had a plan. They were going to get their financing. They just needed a little more time, right? That's what they said. We just need a little more time. Okay. Well, fast forward 60 or 90 days, whatever it is. The planning board said no, right? So now is their opportunity. And it's put up or shut up. Make it off on the property, build amusements, or stop harassing people and stop with the accusations and stop with all the lowbrow stuff that really does not make Ocean City look good. And it's something that they have to understand, that they're not doing Ocean City any favors by throwing all this mud. So now's the time. And I would love to see it. Let's have them buy the property. Let's have them build an amusement park. I would love to see it. Let's go.
I think the thing that one of the things that has frustrated me is in a lot of these threads, you get comments where people say, your town is a joke. This is absolutely ridiculous that you guys are fighting over this, and that this is what the infighting in your town is about. That it's become a laughing stock at this point, and that's not good for anybody. I don't care who you are in town.
Yeah.
Because that's not us. That's not who we are. And this whole thing isn't who Ocean City is. It's not Ocean City at its true core. It is not.
Agreed. Couldn't agree with you more, Dom.
And I feel like I should just mic dropped it right there, but I kept going, so I fucked it up. Sorry for the F word, Drew, but there was bound to be at least one.
I'm surprised it was 27 plus minutes before that dropped. I haven't seen you this fired up in a while.
Well, it's and it's not that I'm not frustrated about the vote. Everyone has their opinion and everyone has their right to whatever they want. It's the now where are we? And
Sure.
I'm frustrated with, you had a little bit of certainty as to what was going to come next, and now there's no certainty as to what comes next. Because after the meeting, the Inquirer and the Sentinel and the OCNJ Daily, these guys are all shoving their microphones in Mita's face and asking him questions. And I was live, so I just went over and listened to what he said. And you could see that he was he's a very calculated individual, let's say. He's very composed. He's very poised. This isn't his first rodeo. This isn't the first time people have objected to things that he wanted to do. I think this is the first time that he's thought he had a different path and than he's had, because I think he thought he had stronger city government behind him. But that hasn't been the case. They've been listening to the masses up until December. And, he said, if I'm going to move quickly now, I'm going to speak with my lawyer. And if rehabilitation is out, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm done. I'm going to go somewhere else. He's like, I have mayors that call me all the time. Say, hey, bring it down here. I'll take it. Let's go. I will gladly take that level of investment in my town. I'll take that tax money. I'll take those jobs. I'll take all that for my community. We're complaining about parking. We're complaining about amusement.
Nostalgia.
So here's the other thing. One of the things that Save Wonderland has put out over the past couple of weeks is they've put out all of these like hypothetical what ifs. Well, what if we give a redevelopment zone to Wonderland and then, you know, the promenade decides they want to go into redevelopment. And then, you know, the Surf Mall and Jilly's want to go into redevelopment. These are all great properties to build the next project. Well, let's look at this hypothetical. Let's say we don't get redevelopment and Mr. Mita sells this property to another family. And they come in and they, like Councilman Lovechuck said when he was on here, pull their demo permit and tear it down. And just leave it there, empty, until they get what they want. Because the family that he's talking about selling it to would have no problem doing that. They are the economic engine of the Democratic Party in New Jersey. So if you think that they're going to come and they're going to have town meetings with you and see what you like and do traffic studies,
try to incorporate things in the development that would be good for the town, be good for the community, be good for the boardwalk. No.
They might. Hey, they might, Drew. They might, but they might not. And there's far more of a chance that
no, they will not, Tom.
Yeah, and like Councilman Lovechick said, they don't need approval. They don't need anything. It's their by right to demo that property if they want to. So whoever buys it, demo it, do it. Don't subject yourself. You know, Mr. Mita's lawyer said something, no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
And that is 100% the case here for Mr. Mita. He's getting punished for saving this property from a sheriff's sale, giving us 4 more years of Wonderland, and then investing $500,000 to keep stuff going on that end of the boardwalk when he knows he's just biding time to do something that he really wants to do. And here we are giving this man a hard time, making him jump through every hoop backwards while it's on fire and he's blindfolded. And people are like, no, we still want him. We still want
slandering him on social media.
Yeah, and it's like we still want a business here that has been proven to be unviable. That Mr. Morey came up and said before him, and then someone said Mr. Morey it's biased because it would be, you know, taking business away from him. I go to no. You know, a gentleman who sells rides comes up and says no. Like it's the uncertainty. It's the, hey, we had an opportunity here to work with a developer who wanted to work with us. That's the key here. We had somebody that wanted to work with us. We don't know what we're going to get. What's the saying? Like sometimes the devil that you know isn't as bad as the devil you don't know, or something like that. Like if he sells it to that family, I would, if I were that family, I would come in and demo it, and you'd sit there and you'd have a fence and orange construction tape around that for as long as I felt I needed. And then guess what? You are going to get redevelopment requests all up and down that boardwalk because you're going to have a bunch of empty stores. And you know how I know that? Because the families that, like I said, the people that built this town, the families that own those properties on that end of the boardwalk got up and adamantly said, if we don't move forward to something, then I'm out. I'm out.
And they don't want to do that. They
No.
don't want to do that. And they're not using that as any kind of scare tactic. They're good and decent people.
Yeah.
Who see that in
who love
a
this town.
2-year time period, 6 out of 8 tenants in just one building are gone.
Yeah. And you have one that's
And
been there for,
nobody coming in behind them. I know those 2 stores that are not reopening this year, they have never had a problem filling it. They have nobody to fill it right now.
the one family said that 6 years ago there was a waiting list of people that wanted to come into those properties. He's like, now he's pretty close to renting 2 of the vacant stores. And then you had another family that had been on the boardwalk for 75 years that said, if they're gone, I'm not far behind them. You had another gentleman who came up and said, I remember coming here as a kid, and now I've worked hard and I've had the opportunity to put a store here, and I want my kid to have a store here one day. You know, that's the kind of person who you have to respect, who, you know, put his money where his mouth is. He loved the city. He wanted what was best for it. And he came and he became a member of the community. He opened a business. He works hard here. He does things in the community. He's not just showing up on Memorial Day and leaving on Labor Day and saying, well, I pay taxes. I want more of a say.
Right.
He's doing something. And, you know, it's frustrating when you see these people and these who've poured generations of hard work into this town saying, hey, I'm going to leave, because you got people who inherited houses up here complaining that they don't get what they want and they don't think that things should go this way because they didn't have the capital to make the opportune investment that Mr. Mita did. Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with a developer seeing a property in disrepair and scooping it up for bottom dollar? All right, Drew, you're sending me the text. We got to wrap it up. I could sit here and talk about this for days because I don't even think I touched on everything that I wanted to, because
I think we felt your sentiment, Dom. And I think you're speaking for an awful lot of people.
I don't want to speak for anyone. I'm
not saying you are speaking for people. I'm saying you are voicing the similar opinions to an awful lot of people. I talked to a lot of people last night and today, and it's universal in my orbit that people are frustrated that vote went that way, and we're back to uncertainty, as you say.
Yeah, it's not the vote. It's not that people have a different opinion. It's just that, what are we going to do now? Who are we going to get there? Who's going to come in? Are they, like we said, are they going to work with us?
Yeah, it's the uncertainty, man.
Are they going to bulldoze
us? And if you're
us?
a Boardwalk merchant north of 9th Street, right?
If you're a Boardwalk merchant anywhere, you got to be like, if you have a business in this town, you got to be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Because it's not just the Boardwalk merchants, it's the restaurant owners, it's the downtown, it's everybody who came out.
It's
like I
the
said,
landlords.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it's the bike rentals. It's
yeah. It's
and the message sent is not. I'll put it this way: it's not a positive message being sent for in front of the business community for potential businesses.
And like I said, Drew, like the one thing, like, we look like a joke. We look like a joke. We've worked hard to build an awesome community here. And, you know, we know each other. We're close knit. Like, for the most part, we all get along.
Mm-hmm.
We all help each other out. Like I said, we welcome everyone in here. We say, come on in, come hang out, like, enjoy it, because it is awesome. And now, I don't know.
Well, we'll see. So at some point, I don't know exactly.
Yeah,
there's a city council meeting tonight. I don't believe that this is on the agenda tonight. But
I'm sure
maybe at the next meeting it will be on the agenda. And really, that's it. That's it.
Oh, this is the other thing too. This is the one last thing I'll say is when it goes to that, if the city council does vote yes, then all these people are going to sue. They're all going to get their lawyers and they're going to come up and they're going to sue, and they're going to drag it out even longer. So like,
Well,
what do you
they
do?
say
Like you're
they
stuck.
say that. What are they suing for, Dom?
There's
I don't
gonna
think any of that will
listen.
stick.
When that gentleman stood up, who was a second homeowner, and talked about how he was this lawyer, he made you appreciate why everybody loves lawyers. And that's exactly how they're going to sue. They're going to find some guy like that who's going to objectively interpret the applications and what was submitted and the evidence, and he's going to shark it, and he's going to shark them. And that's what lawyers do. That's what they do. And no skin to him. That's his job. That's his profession. That's his career. And like, it was good that he
hire him that I have a problem with.
Yeah, that's his job.
And that a lot of people will have a problem with.
You know, like that's what he does.
So if you want to be in this town and be, say you love Ocean City and then turn around and hire an attorney to sue the city to leave that property vacant, that's going to be a problem.
Well, it's not going to be to leave the property vacant. It's going to be to follow the rules, which the city is doing.
Kick the can down the road. The property will remain vacant until something happens, right? So you file suit. It's going to remain vacant for a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it takes. That's not doing anybody any good.
It's tough, Drew. That's the uncertainty. That's part of this uncertainty now. And like I said, that gentleman, I thought he brought up a great point, because it was like, from my perspective, it was like, well, why didn't you do all that stuff? That would have been like the number one thing to do, is to get hard data. But like, it's tough. It's tough because we had a path, and I gotta go. We gotta end this. I don't. There's no good way to end it. I should end it at 27 minutes with my mic drop statement.
You should have.
This is not who we are, and I'll leave it at that. This is not who we are, and let's remember who we are, people, and let's remember how we became Ocean City, and how Ocean City was built, and why Ocean City is a place that people come to when we go out and we make our posts and we do our things. Remember what it means to be from Ocean City and what it means to be a part of the Ocean City community. Peace.